Let's talk about Madame Web. It's not connecting. Plenty more great jokes like that coming up. No, I'm talking about the movie Madame Web, the new installment in the Spider-Man villain saga by Sony that started with Venom and should lead to the long gestating Sinister Six project unless they come to their senses. This is something they've wanted to do since Andrew Garfield played Spider-Man, and they are stubborn. The success of the Venom movies especially encouraged them to go all in on that, so here we are, with Kraven the Hunter and Venom 3 on the way. What a time to be alive. Unfortunately, Madame Web didn't end up making any money, so we'll see how Kraven does, but I don't think Sony will ever stop until they've dug up every crappy Spider-Man villain and side character ever created and officially lost all of the money they got from Venom. So, who even is Madame Web? Let's start there. The character was created by Dennis O'Neil and artist John Romita Jr., and she first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man comics in the early 80s, usually depicted as a blind, paralyzed older lady with dark glasses, connected to a bunch of web-like wires, with clairvoyant precognitive abilities. She's kind of a villain, but kind of not. She appeared in various Spider-Man things over the years. I remember her vaguely from the 90s cartoons and a Ben Reilly storyline in the comics. I don't remember which one. Forgive me, I haven't read Spider-Man comics in a very long time. Okay. Oh, and let's not forget her finest hour, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the Broadway musical.
That you can rise above, swing through the skies above.
Come on, why couldn't we get that Madame Web? Madame Web is an interesting character who definitely would have been cool to see in the Spider-Man movie, and while I didn't have high hopes for the film having seen the much parodied official trailer, I was curious to see what the hell this film was going to be. As it turns out, frickin' hilarious. Total train wreck. Loved every minute of it. Easily one of the worst Marvel movies, but also one of the most enjoyable, worst Marvel movies.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
I was not ready for how goofy this film was. I'd heard rumblings about its silliness, but wow, this was an experience. It was like the first time you see The Room, you know? Or Troll 2. Fascinating stuff. I'm gonna try to describe to you the plot of this movie, but if it starts at any point to sound way too ridiculous to be true, I'm doing a good job, probably. So the good news is, the movie is horrible right away. It wastes like no time being bad. It's not like Morbius where you're relatively intrigued until you finally realize, oh, I see what kind of bad movie this is. The Venom movies, and Morbius as well, have this early 2000s cheesy superhero movie quality, which makes the films feel very dated, down to the effects as well, but also cozy and how nostalgic they feel. Looking back, most of the early 2000s comic book movies were actually pretty decent, honestly. But these new ones feel more like mid-tier stuff, you know, like stuff like Daredevil or Fantastic Four. Not so much Blade or even like X-Men or the first Spider-Man movie. Madame Web is closer to, say, Elektra or Rise of the Silver Surfer or this bullshit.
What you've created here is incredible.
The film opens with the backstory of Cassandra Webb's mother. Yep, Madame Web's name is actually Webb, and her mother is a spider expert, also called Webb. Genius. She is betrayed by a dude who steals a valuable rare spider who has healing properties, and get this, an indigenous tribe of Spider-Man shows up. Folks, I'm not kidding. They try to save her by having one of their spiders bite her, but they came too late, which is why her daughter Cassie is the one who inherits the spider powers. Or something, I don't know, I think that's what happened, who cares? Really. Cut to 2003, and we meet paramedic Cassie Webb, played by a visibly embarrassed Dakota Johnson, who is on a job with Adam Scott, who is in this movie for some reason, playing her normie friend, when there's a big accident and she almost dies, which unlocks her powers. What follows is a bunch of deja vu type stuff where she sees the near future happen suddenly and keeps flashing forward and back looking all confused. Meanwhile, the villain of the film, the same guy as in the beginning, Ezekiel, played by Tahar Rahim, who also has spider powers obviously, He's having visions in which he's killed by 3 young spider ladies, so he sets out to find out who they are in order to kill them before they can kill him. To do this, he dresses up as Spider-Man kind of, and so Cassie, who actually meets the 3 spider ladies before they become spider ladies, decides to help and protect them. One of them is played by Sweeney, who is a nothing burger in this film in my opinion, but she plays a naughty schoolgirl, so I'm sure that's enough for most people. Wait a minute. Naughty schoolgirls, hotel rooms, madames. Are the spider ladies Madame Web's hoes? Is that what's happening? What kind of movie is this? What am I watching? There's garbage action scenes along the way, obviously, questionable special effects that look way too expensive, tons of terrible dialogue.
You know, be like a Girl Scout girl. Be that. Just be that. I didn't know we'd be targeting teenagers.
They're teenagers now, but in the future, they have powers.
Hope the spiders were worth it, Mom.
And also, lots of not much going on at all. Madame Web and the girls hanging out in a diner, in a hotel room, driving around, on rooftops. Most of the characters are pretty annoying, but I gotta say, this guy has to be the worst Marvel villain in a while, which, for a franchise about how cool Spider-Man villains are, not great. He's like a boring TV villain of the week, basically. And this is especially dumb because Adam Scott was right there. You know that dude would have made an entertaining bad guy in this movie. But no, let's make him some nice paramedic. No one else could have played that role. I don't know why every dude needs to have Keanu Reeves' energy in this movie, which is obviously no energy. Eventually, Cassie flies to Peru where she touches base with the Spooderman cult, and they help her unlock her true powers. She learns to control them. I feel like the whole film takes place on the same block, even the Peru scenes. That's how good the sets are. The third act is just plain awful. I don't know what else to say. The highlights: one of the girls skateboards her way into battle on a piece of metal. Pepsi product placement goes all out. Madame Web gets a firework to the face, which makes fighting in the fireworks warehouse not the best idea she's ever had. It's also exactly the ending to Revenge of the Pink Panther, which means nothing to you Zoomers, of course, but it means everything to me. It all ends with Dakota Johnson in a wheelchair after another near-death experience, with the sunglasses and the superpowers mastered and the spider ladies, hinting at a sequel that, let's be real, will never happen in this lifetime. I just don't see Dakota Johnson returning to the role at all, let alone for a sequel. Guys, this was a baffling film, to say the least. I genuinely don't know who this is for. Die-hard lady Spider-Man fans, maybe? But also not them, because this isn't really anything like the comics, is it? I feel like Marvel just had its Catwoman moment. Sony just made a Madame Web movie just to make one, and we had to sit through it. Well, I did anyway. Let me put it this way. It makes Morbius look not that bad. It makes it feel almost like a real film. I don't know how to describe it. It's like the C movie of something like Unbreakable. You know, just like an absolutely meaningless endeavor.
That does sound like me.
Love the shit out of it. Hey, at least it was more fun than Fan Four Stick and more memorable than Elektra. I'll tell you that. I'm never missing one of these Sony Marvel films in the theater ever again. I wonder how bad they can get now. Did we just peak, or are we about to? Should you watch it? Yes, you should. Will you like it? Probably not. Unless you like trashy Hollywood blockbusters that are entertainingly terrible. Looks like the Marvel drought is still going strong. I'm sure we're close to a good one finally though. Oh no, just saw the future. It's gonna be a while, guys. Sorry. Spider crawled up my ass 8 years ago, so I can see the future now. That's how that works. Makes total sense. I got powers now. Got spider powers. I'm leaving now to watch something else, anything else. Maybe something good, like Lawrence of Arabia or something. That movie's awesome. Just a palate cleanser, you know? I gotta start believing movies again. You know what I mean? I need some balance in my life. God, that sucked.
What about them? He was crawling on the ceiling. What about that guy? I mean, you saw.